Hey folks, how's it going? Are you enjoying October? It's not long until Halloween now, and I've got some more videos planned that I think you'll like, and that'll go well with the Halloween spirit. But haven't streamed in quite a while, and apparently a lot of you like that more than I thought, so yeah. I'm able to fit it in today. It's been a little tough to manage everything. Shit ton of editing, excuse my French, and other work. What's that costume? What costume? It's just my fancy outfit. This is just normal, fancy stuff. I was starting to wonder if you're ever going to stream again at this point. Yeah. I've just had to prioritize the regular uploads, and it's been ridiculous. I mean, I'm very happy with how they turned out, but the schedule has been insane. What do you think of 2-in-1 weapons, like a sword that splits down the middle and becomes two swords? Those tend to be pretty bad, because they tend to have one of two problems, often both. One, that it compromises structural integrity, and the other is if you want to make two swords fit together, you usually have to make the grip pretty crappy. Like if you think about Chinese butterfly swords, they're meant to go in the same scabbard, both of them together. So it's basically half of a handle. You know, one side is flat. It's not super comfortable. Anyway, we've got a birthday today. Happy birthday, Nayot. Hope you're doing well. Everybody wish Nayot a happy birthday. Oh yeah, let me just make a note here real quick before I forget. Alright. Thanks, AM Productions. Haven't been in a stream in a while because I've been working. Well, there also hasn't been a stream in a while, so don't worry about it. Since I broke my hip last week, I kind of have a lot of free time. Yikes. Sorry to hear that, and wish you quick healing. Can't wait to pay off my debt. The ambulance alone was $2,000. Yikes. America, eh? Yeah. An ambulance shouldn't cost you anything, really. I mean, in Canada, it's a pittance. It's like, I forgot how much it was, but like, I don't know, 20 bucks, 30 or something like that. Yeah. And in Europe, I mean, you can't really say Europe, but, you know, the European countries I'm aware of, you don't pay anything. So, yeah. Anyway, let's not turn this into America versus the rest of the world. It seems nuts to me. Like, you should not have to pay for an ambulance, let alone that much. But yeah, either way, get better soon. Actually, let me resize this a little bit. A reposition. Not entirely happy with that. Yeah, we don't need as much gray in the background there. A little bit annoying. There. Yeah, pedantic shufflings. Who cares, right? Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it's a very nice background though. I like this. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, flew off an electric scooter you can rent and landed on my hip on the edge of the sidewalk. Oh, that sounds painful. Won't be working for the next 5 to 6 weeks and I already spent a week in the hospital. Ouch. That sucks, dude. I'm really sorry to hear that. Or read, you know what I mean. Anyway, just, you know, don't even bother with super chats. Just stick to the regular chat. I'll keep an eye out. I don't want you to spend extra money after all that. Healthcare in quotation marks. Yeah, I think nowadays the healthcare system is pretty bad in a lot of places. You know, we have a serious doctor shortage here, and yeah, long wait times and stuff. What should I dress up? What should I dress up as for Halloween? A murderous block of tofu. You know, just a huge block of tofu with a bloody knife. That's what you gotta do. Why? I don't know. Just the first thing that came to mind. Thanks, Vodka Lover 420. Really don't understand why Viking or Norse-related music always has to be dark, with the exception of what Einar Selvik did for AC Valhalla. Also, don't tell me what to do. You're not my king. Well, I didn't tell you anything. I was talking to AM. Anyway, yeah, it tends to be. I mean, it depends if it's you know, Viking metal or Viking music as in an interpretation of what it might have sounded like and stuff like that. Because it would make sense that it would be fairly cheerful because it's probably the music that they play when they, you know, when they drink and party and all that, you know. You're welcome, Nayad. Dress up as an undead skeleton Viking. Okay, you had to specify that it's an undead skeleton Viking. You wouldn't want to portray a living skeleton Viking, huh? Oh yeah, the murderous tofu would definitely will get all the bitches. You bet. 100%. They'll be all over you. They'll be dying to get to the white stuff, you know what I mean? Vikings have pretty dark music though. I mean, some dark themes, for sure. Dark humor, probably. Dress up as a hot girl, yeah. Thanks, but I want to ask a question. Hey, you can do that in the regular chat. Don't worry about it, Am. Can you give me a shout out in your next video? I've been working on my channel for the past 9+ months. I have 69 nice subs. The next videos I've already finished, and like for the next 2 weeks basically I've already got the videos finished, and I can't add anything there, sorry. You may have to remind me after that because, you know, as the grind continues I may just be scatterbrained and forgetful. It's just kind of been the mode of existence lately, overworked. And thereby a little bit all over the place at times. Thanks, Actizer. How long have you been practicing HEMA? Depends on how you count. I mean, yeah, I can count when I started doing it myself. Basically, as soon as I started really looking at the historical manuscripts, because I've been messing with swords and doing, you know, sparring and other practice for a long ass time, you know, since the early 2000s, basically. But I would really count it when I started digging more into the manuscripts, which is around 2013. But, you know, there's been pauses in between, you know, when I wasn't been able to practice either due to injuries or most commonly, especially lately, due to lack of time. So it's not like 8 years straight, you know. Mm-hmm. Have to go now. Gotta do PT. Yeah, I know. Thanks, AM, and best of luck with that. As I said, I hope you recover quickly. I know it sucks. Recovery is always frustrating, and you know, all the physical therapy, you know, that it's tedious, but it gets better eventually. Love your videos. You're the reason I got into swords. Thank you. Well, you're welcome, and thanks for watching. You know? If you aren't doing anything specific for this stream, can you react to the Dresden rapier by Windless? It's a 1-minute video of it, and its design is something fascinating. Let me just quickly check. I don't want to open a video right now, but I can look for pictures at least. I'm pretty sure I've seen it before, but I need to refresh my memory, which is garbage. No, I actually have not seen that before. Huh. Interesting. Let me show that in a window. That would be smart, right? There we are. Resize that sucker. Actually, let me make it a little bit more narrow. There we go. It's weird to see this large metal bulb in the center. You know, I get a palm swell, I get risers and all that, but that's a lot. That's like a pommel in the middle of a grip. In fact, it looks like it used to be just a regular rapier, and then they just tacked on this extra grip. That is really strange. What on earth is going on with that? Huh. So turn a rapier into a 1.5 sword, I guess? Huh. That is very strange. I would like to handle that. That would be interesting. You know, maybe I should get one at some point and test it out. That would be quite interesting. In fact, I should probably put that on my to-do list, because otherwise it'll immediately slip my mind right after. That's how it goes. Okay. This Dresden rapier. Okay. What else we got going on? Thanks, Split Face Media. Love you, nerd boys in this chat. Love you, Skall. Stay careful. Love your attitude. Most of all, never change. Oh, thank you. Can I go a little bit of an overthinking rant. The never change is kind of weird to me. I totally understand how it's meant. It's meant positively. It's an encouragement. But like, if you take it at face value, it's not something you would ever want to adhere to. Like, never changing, eternal stagnation. That would be a terrible thing. Like, it's good to grow and develop and improve, hopefully. But basically what it means, don't change for the worse, which is fair. Overthink all the things. That's how we do. That's how we roll. And the extra grip is the pommel? Yeah, might be. You can end them extra grippily? Yeah. Have you heard of the Gnunting? Yeah, I've even reviewed it. In fact, you can check it out. If you search it on my channel, you'll find it. It's a concealed dagger. It's not very concealed, is it? I mean, I guess it is. I mistook it just for a two-handed grip, so there's that. Oh yeah, that makes sense, because there's also a separate picture of the dagger. Interesting. That really makes me wonder what the tang looks like. It really makes me wonder. Nifty. Wouldn't a dagger hidden in the grip make the grip weaker? It would not be a full tang. Well, I think you could fit it. Basically, it would make the handle scale thinner on one side, because you could slide it on top of the tang. So it means that the handle on that side needs just to have a bit more space. So I wonder if they just make the grip thicker for that, which could be awkward, but like, it could still, the tang could still go all the way through, but if you imagine like the grip on one side is like a scabbard of sorts, you put that in on top, that could work. Like, it doesn't have to be positioned right where the tang would be, Have you ever thought about talking about mythology weapons and if they would be practical? Not as such, but I've got a video planned for next week, the day before Halloween, which is going to be about cursed swords. So that's partially relevant, at least. You wonder how I would react to Genshin Impact weapons? Well, check out the video that I put up pretty recently. It's titled, I Hate This Fantasy Trope. But it's just about one of the weapons. And, more about the way it's used rather than the design as such. Yeah, that's right. There are axes from India that have a stiletto in the steel haft. Yes, they got cursed swords. Cursed swords. Shadiversity did a video on how to effectively fight wizards and such with medieval weaponry. What are your thoughts on that if you've seen it? I haven't seen it. I haven't had time to watch anything. So, no idea what he said, but it really depends on what magic power they have. Like, if you're fighting an elementalist who can, unleash fire or ice or whatever the hell upon you, then from a distance, no less, what the hell are you gonna do? Like, I don't think, or particularly, say, lightning, Armor isn't really gonna help you do, well, I mean, it depends on the type. But, either way, I'm thinking you would be pretty screwed unless you're able to either sneak up on the mage or get him from a distance with a crossbow or a bow or something like that. Yeah. Like, if you can't even have a magic shield, then a shield may not help you too much against a lot of magic. Also, well, I guess if you're fighting a necromancer, you can technically fight his minions. But if he's cursing you meanwhile, then it's not great. Anyway, thanks Dark Blaze 176. What are your thoughts on the Destiny 2 swords and their impracticality besides a few? I have never looked at them. Let me take a peek. Destiny 2. Ugh. I can't help but wrinkle my nose. Let's see. This in particular, that's too much. Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. That's wild, but I do like the design. It's kind of cool. Same here. Huge oversized paddle, but the design is cool. There we go, that works. Yeah, that's too much. They went too far with that one. That's too much stuff. It's just overloaded visually. Yeah, it's large, but it's okay, I guess. That looks kind of neat, but at the same time also a little bit too Power Rangers toy-like looking, This thing can't decide if it wants to be a lance or a sword, so it tries it all, I guess. Okay. Yeah, they were definitely being creative here. What the fuck is that? This is not a sword, it's a Warhammer. It's a Warhammer mounted like a sword-ish. They don't even know what swords are. All right. Well, the game isn't supposed to be realistic or, I'm guessing, particularly immersive, so who cares? Well, I just talked about necromancers. Now there's one in the chat. There we go. It has a hand holding a dagger. That's actually inspired by real historical stuff. There are Warhammers in history made like that. These are, reproductions or modern interpretations or whatever. But they basically look like that. There are depictions of those, and there are also a few in museums. So that is actually a thing, believe it or not. Pretty nuts. Thanks, Adam. Well, I love the Princess Bride. 2 hands on rapier is stupid. Yeah, you lose reach, lose the ability to cut with the wrist for leverage on a thin blade. Yeah, double fisting a rapier is no. It doesn't make sense. A rapier, you want to keep it extended as much as possible. You want to really utilize its reach, and you want to, have a finger over the guard so you can tilt it more forward so it's better aligned for thrusts. You take all of that away if you try to use two hands on it. It's just, no, just straight up no. Check out the game called War Tile. I haven't heard of that. Let's see. What is War Tile? Okay. Cooldown based strategy game. Okay, you control Viking figurines in a miniature universe. Yeah, then I'm out. I've never liked this. I've never liked board games as video games. The same with card games. Like, I'm peculiar about that. Like, I cannot play anything, any video game that's based on cards or tabletop figures or stuff like that. It's always seemed pointless to me. Maybe I'm too old school or whatever, but it's like, if I want to play a board game, which I usually don't, I play a board game. If I want to play a card game, I play a card game with actual cards. I don't want that in a video game, So that's kind of off-putting to me. Yeah, there are also Warhammers where the pick comes out of the mouth of an animal, or sometimes it's a beak of a bird. Thanks, too many accounts. Handmade auto better than... Wait, what? Handmade auto better than machine made, or is... Oh, okay, yeah. Automatically, that's what I mean. Yeah. Is handmade automatically better than machine made? No. Definitely not automatically. Because poorly handmade, like, if you just think about it, like an amateur cobbling something together in his garage is, it's not gonna be great. So in that case, machine made, like, if that same individual had a machine to use, well, and knew how to use it safely and all that, you would probably get a better result because it's going to be more precise. It really, if you just look at the process itself, there isn't necessarily that much of an advantage in handmade. There's certain things that you can do better, like, for example, say, like, elaborate curved shapes. If you forge them, you're gonna use material more efficiently as opposed to taking a larger piece and cutting it out or grinding it or both. Stuff like that. But it really depends on the quality of how it's done either way. The one thing you can say is like a handmade sword by a custom bladesmith, what you're getting there overall is usually better quality control. Because it's handmade, because every piece is finished by hand, there's more attention to it given, so there's that, but that's not inherent to the process of using machines or power tools or whatever. You can still do that even if you use machines. Thanks, Pretzel, too. Would you consider reviewing Sephiroth's sword? I don't think there's enough to review there. It's like, it's a Nodachi, except it's crazy long. That's it. Like, it's ludicrously impractically long. Particularly the ratio of blade to handle. It needs a longer handle. The blade is way too long to make sense and be practical. And there you go, review done. So I don't think I can squeeze a video out of that. It's not that much to say. Thanks, Adam. I'm gonna check out the hilted poleaxe from the British Royal Armory. Todd Cutler made one recently from Matt Easton. Yeah, I saw the thumbnail. I just didn't have time to watch it, but I saw at least the thumbnail. It's pretty cool, yeah. I've seen pictures of that one before. It's pretty nuts. In a good way, I guess. I don't know what they've done with it, but that's pretty cool. Thanks, Dan Dragon MC. Could you give your opinion on a weapon named Kanshu and Bakuya? I also wanted to know what your thoughts on it might be. Never heard of it, so let me look it up. What even is? Okay. Seems to be some fantasy thingamajig. Oh, that's a pair. Okay. All right. I thought those were two separate weapons, but it's a pair, like a twin set of swords. Okay. Ugh. Okay, this is terrible. This is kind of grossly ugly, but this take here I kind of like. It's like, you know, short, very wide blades, you know, kind of like butterfly swords. Yeah, not bad. Looks pretty neat. I don't know what's up with the grid there. Something sci-fi, I'm guessing. I don't know. Thanks, Vodka Lover. What do you think of the term Dark Ages? Do you consider it to be valid? And if so, in your opinion, where does it begin and end? Well, yeah, Dark Ages is one of those problematic, debated terms. It basically refers to a time period where you have less sources. At least that was true for a while. I don't know if that's still the case. You know, basically it starts with the fall of the Roman Empire. So, you know, 5th century, mid-5th century, depending on exactly where you want to put the fall of Rome. But from then until the end of the Viking Age, I think is normally where you put it. Although some people put the Dark Age more like 800 to 1000 something, which is really more Viking Age. So I think it makes more sense to say, you know, between 400 and 500, and then until around 1000, around the year 1000. And yeah, when I was at university, the stance is that because there's less writing during that time and less artwork, sources in general, you know, less sources, that's why it's the Dark Age, because we have less about it. It's a little bit misleading, but you know, it sounds like it's this period of decline of civilization and, you know, suffering and what, which, you know, to an extent, yes, if you think about the fall of the Roman Empire, but people didn't really see it that way. Like if you went to the year, you know, back in time to the year that we say Rome fell, and you asked people about it, they would be like, what the hell? What are you talking about? Roman Empire hasn't fallen. They were still clinging to it for quite a while. Yeah, so it's a bit of a vague term. I generally don't use it. I tend to use the term migration, era, and, you know, or period, whatever, and then Viking period or Viking Age, and, you know, all of that. Early, high, and late Middle Ages. Thanks, Dark Blaze. What are your thoughts on Shashka sword dancing? Is it effective in teaching sword control? My wife is pretty good at it. Teaching sword Control, yes. It's not good at teaching sword fighting, obviously, because that's not what it is. It's good at, you know, practicing overall body control, coordination, hand-eye coordination, balance, things like that. And yes, handling is, well, I mean, a particular form of handling a sword, you know, not the combat-oriented way. Thanks, Miss Ebola. Been refining my skills with Okinawan Kobudo. Are there any places in NS that you know of where I could learn more, like with HEMA and swords? For HEMA, yeah, there's a school here. There is Spada, which is the local HEMA school. You can try that. Not aware of anything else. There is SCA, of course. I'm not aware if there's anything Japanese swordsmanship related. Probably not. At least not that I've seen. You look healthier. I'm surprised because I've been mostly just a stressed out wreck lately, but hey, thanks, I guess. Yeah, if you want to check them out, it's SPADA, Spada. Thanks, Bryce. It's very generous. Appreciate it. Would like to see your opinion on the sword fighting in the new Dune movie? Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I probably will if I find the time. But I didn't even know there is sword fighting in it. Yeah, I'm not gonna look it up because I'm planning to watch it eventually. It kind of sucks. I want to give you an answer more than just I haven't watched it, but yeah, I'd rather not look it up because then I'll just get spoilers. So remind me in a few weeks after I've hopefully had time to watch it. Oh, did you hear that? That was a good crack. That's a shame. Why so stressed? Just work. It's just because lately the algorithm has been, they changed it again and it has been screwing me over big time. And my default reaction to a drop in views is intensify the effort. You know, try to make the video even better. And yeah, so it's just been too much. Just been too much work. Bloggity and I were just watching it before you streamed. Okay, what do you think about it? Is it actually good? Because I haven't actually seen anything yet about whether or not it's good. There's been a lot of hype about it, of course. More stiletto fighting, at least that's how it looks in the books. Okay, I mean, you know, long knife or dagger, short sword. There's a bit of gray area in between. Right. Have you never read Dune? No, I actually haven't. Outrageous. I know. Bloggity says it seems decent. Okay. Heard only good things. Alright. Seems neat. Thanks again, Vodka Lover. Can you go into detail about the difference between practical and historical arms and armor? Huh? Wait. The difference between practical and historical arms and armor. Had this big debate at work over... Wait. It's a big debate with someone over this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I'm assuming you're hinting at, can something that's not historical be practical? You know, maybe? Because generally things that are practical mostly have been done at some point in history. Is it just me? I don't quite know the difference between practical and historical arms and armor. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Can you clarify? You should. There's a reason it's the best-selling sci-fi novel of all time. Yeah, I know. I just ain't got nobody time for that. Wasn't most historical armor practical? Yeah, usually. There are some exceptions here and there. You know, there are some things in history that I would not call practical, because sometimes they didn't always go by what works best. Sometimes things like, cultural values and traditions and all that came into it. So, and there are parade armors and weapons and things like that, ceremonial stuff. So not everything is 100% practical. There are some historical pieces that were impractical I saw, and this guy said only historical armor can be practical. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. You can still come up with something that's perfectly practical. Chances are a lot of what you can come up with has probably been done in some form already, but if you think about it, there's still armor being made, like riot gear, for example. There's still modern armor. I don't even mean ballistic armor. That's an entirely different thing, of course. Ceramic plates and Kevlar and ballistic vests and all that. But even against melee weapons, there are stab-proof vests or stab resistant, and you can, for example, the SCA. People like to make armor out of, those large plastic drums. I think, is that polypropylene? It might be. You can design plastic armor, and in fact, now that I think about it, even HEMA gear. Some of the stuff that has been developed for HEMA for protection in sparring is basically armor. Modern armor. It's usually inspired by historical designs, but you also have different things. Baseball catchers' leg guards, for example. I like those for sparring in HEMA. They're quite effective, and that's a new form of armor, which is practical, and you could, in fact, use it against sharp blades. It's not designed for that, and it could be improved if you wanted to use it against sharp weapons. But yeah, you can still come up with something new that would be perfectly practical. Just because the majority of fantasy is not, doesn't mean it's not possible. Hope that answered the question. Yeah, hockey pads, stuff like that. Found your channel about a month ago, and I really have enjoyed your show. Great work, quite entertaining for me. Thank you, appreciate it. What about badly designed or made historical armor? Not all blacksmiths back then we're master of their works. Yeah, it's true. Like you do have like, in some cases it's just simpler stuff. You know, munition grade armor, which was meant for common soldiers and men at arms rather than noble knights. But there's also sometimes stuff that just was made kind of crudely because, you know, the smith wasn't as experienced, but they still needed something. Yeah, definitely. Not everything was amazing back then, just like nowadays. You know, people have always made, you know, better and worse products, to put it, you know, more generally. Like there's always been a large variety of craftsmanship and skill involved. Now, it's too easy to claim that everything that existed in history was 100% practical and great just because it existed at a time when they needed it, you know? Thanks, Diamond Trilogy. I've watched She-Ra and have to say that I fully understand your position. It was honestly very touching and well made, despite the pink flavor. Yeah, I do think so. That's a way to put it. Like if you take it for what it is, and if you keep in mind what it is and what the target audience is, then it's absolutely enjoyable. And as I said, it becomes more so as you go on throughout the series. What about like self-made armor? Something that peasants would wear? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people... It might not have been made by an armor as such, but it's somebody, you know, had to improvise something. That's very possible. So much military gear is trash quality. Yeah, that's another thing. I've definitely heard soldiers complain about how, you know, how crappy some of the equipment is that they get. You would think, hey, it's the military. They gotta equip them with the best available and most effective stuff, right? But sometimes it's more about how cheap can we make it. I've been watching you, Shad, and the others for 5 years now, maybe more, and I cannot express my gratitude. Keep it up, lads. Well, thank you. I think about the movie The Duelists. I'm just going to refer you to the video I made about that topic. If you search it, it should pop right up. Whoa, thanks, Bryce. That's even more generous. Where can I send the Dune movie tickets for you and significant other to go see? I need this breakdown from you. All that aside, thank you for all your content so far. You've made my life so much more livable throughout 2020's craziness. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And yeah, don't worry about tickets. We'll get to it eventually. I have no idea when. It happens when it happens. I also really need to, you know, in the coming months, I'm going to have to figure out a way to do things at a more feasible pace. Like I may have to ultimately reduce it to 1 video per week rather than 2, because a lot of people don't see stuff anyway when I upload it because of algorithm shenanigans, and this might not even be worth it to put out that much, and it would definitely help me to have more time and not have to run myself into the ground like that. I think Steve at 22, the medalist, axe build shaped like a human hand. What? I have no idea what that's about. Okay, yeah. All right, that's a video apparently. The medalist creates a literal hand axe. Okay, I see. That's pretty silly in a good way. Yeah, talk to the hand. Okay, Why not? Hand axe. Yeah. I get it. Makes me wonder how thick it is. You really can't tell. No, I cannot tell at all the thickness. It looks kind of thick. I don't know how effective that is, but that's a lot of effort just for a pun. Oh well. Quality over quantity? Well, ideally both. I mean, that's basically been my problem. Like I kept trying to improve, like increase the quality while still sticking to the same upload frequency, which is kind of a murderous pace. It is the single weirdest axe I've ever seen. Yeah, I can agree with that. They always miss in Star Wars because they always shoot from the hip. Yeah, that makes sense. What I cannot get over is how 90% of sci-fi firearms are completely devoid of sighting instruments. Yeah, that is weird. It's all just hip fire. Just sights? What's that? We don't need accuracy, do we? We're stormtroopers. But it's not just them. So, kind of weird. Thanks, Andrew. Good day to you. Can I bother you? You for your thoughts on Shadiversity's book and his sword design for Imperius? Not really, because I haven't read it, so I can't tell you anything about it. Sorry. I can try Imperius. I really am not up to date at all with what other people are doing. Yeah, I don't know. Can I find any pictures? Anything? Okay, there it is. Yeah, I guess it works. It's very spiky, but the spikes are all pointing away from the hand, so that works. Oh yeah, I should probably show it too. Yeah, pretty good. That looks like a functional fantasy design. Yeah, why not? It's edgy, or I guess pointy, spiky, without being ridiculous. So yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, the book, I have no idea. I have not read it, so not a clue. Let's see what else you said. I'd also like to hear your thoughts and critics of the sun forging enchanting process in his book setting. Yeah, sorry, again, I can't tell you. I have zero clue. Thanks, Rizal, if I pronounce that correctly. Have you seen Matt Easton's and Todd's video on the poleaxe found in the Royal Armory Museum? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I've only seen a thumbnail. I haven't had time to watch the video, so looks pretty gnarly. I've seen some medieval depictions of this kind of thing. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've talked about it. Haven't I talked about an end him rightly sword, pole sword kind of deal? I think I have. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Definitely pretty cool. I mean that Todd made one of them. That was pretty awesome. we ever revisit the Vermintide weapons? Maybe. I mean, I might talk more about some stuff from the Warhammer universe. People keep asking about 40k, but the problem is it's almost worse than Magic because it's like such, it's so far in the future. It's such, crazy high, sci-fi high tech that what can I even say about that? Because everything I can say, everything I can point out, for example, the chainsword, one of the things are, okay, what's the power source? How much weight is it going to add? Putting a motor in there and a power source is going to increase the bulk and the weight dramatically. But if I say that, then people are just going to be like, yeah, but they have like super tiny, whatever the hell, quantum batteries. I don't know what they have in the Warhammer universe, but they have like super tiny micro and like hyper potent power sources, and everything is smaller, and also power armor. They can haul all this heavy stuff. Like, there isn't really much I can say, right? They're just gonna. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Eugenara. Probably a dumb question, but what if you were to melt down magnets and make it into a sword? Would a sword be functional, or just be a dumb idea? I don't think you can make a sword out of a magnet. Can you magnetize steel to the point where it becomes a strong enough magnet? Magnet, like a magnet in and of itself, is not a metal, right? That makes me realize that I've never thought about what material a magnet is. No, wait, aren't there steel magnets that just have been magnetized? Am I just completely tripping right now? What are magnets made of? Okay, an iron alloy. Okay, yeah, fair enough. You could probably make magnetic steel, right? So I think you should be able to make a magnetized steel blade that's just otherwise regular steel, right? Why would you want that? I don't know. Back scabbard, is this where you're going? Maybe. Yeah, right, if you wanted to turn it into an electromagnet, but then you have to add a lot of stuff. Thanks, James. Up hair. Sticker? I think that's what they call it. Oh, would you want your sword to get stuck on plate or two plate, and on top of that it would miss the gaps? Yeah, right. I don't know why you would want that, but it could be done, I suppose. Could be forced to bind with the opponent's sword. Well, how strong would it have to be? Because unless it's like a crazy powerful electromagnet, it's not going to stick to it that strongly. Like, you're still going to be able to pry the swords apart without too much difficulty, I would think. And also then your sword would randomly get stuck to metal objects in your surroundings. Is probably not great, I would think. Like, imagine you have steel-toed boots and it just clunk, attaches itself to your toes. Yeah, I don't know. Not to mention that you can't wear metal armor. It's kind of a bummer, I would think. Yeah, a magnetized back scabbard, I can see that. That makes some sense. Not that I'm a fan of back scabbards in any way, shape, or form, but if you wanted to force it, if you want to be an edgelord and insist on wearing a sword on your back, then that would be a way to do it, I suppose. see what else. Magnetic shield would be more effective. Yes. And I mean, actually, yes. If you had a strongly magnetized shield and weren't using metal weapons, that would make sense, because otherwise your shield would attract your own weapon. That's probably not great. But if you, I don't know, you're using a club, you know, or stone mace or something like that, could potentially do that. Or just non-magnetic metal. I don't know. Then again, yeah, that's not really gonna... If you want steel, there's going to be iron in it, so a magnet is going to attract it. Thanks, Polymath. So yeah, if you don't want to wear metal armor and don't want to use a metal weapon, then you could have a magnetized shield, I suppose. Although, I still can't imagine it would be strong enough to actually throw off an opponent's cut. Because just think about the kind of force involved and how fast the sword moves. You know, if somebody really cuts at you with intent, I doubt that the magnet could be strong enough to pull it out of, out of its trajectory with that kind of force involved. That would be pretty nuts. If it did that, then you would literally attract... Like, if there were any kind of smaller metal objects, you would constantly attract everything. Like, screws and nails would be flying at your shield all the time, and you would get stuck on things. I think if it was powerful enough to do that, it would be crazy. It would have to be an electromagnet, so you're able to turn it off if you need to, you know? Thanks, David22. Bomb Factory, custom battle axe, Shao Kahn. Okay. It would be helpful if you could make your comments a little less minimalist. Like, I kind of struggle to make sense of them at first glance. They're very bare bones, so to speak. I can't find anything here. No, I can't find anything with those search terms, sorry. Thanks for the super chat, but I can't do anything with that. Thanks, Adam. The chemical / crystalline structure, or crystalline structure of the alloy is changed enough that it would most likely no longer retain the shape, retain the charge. All right. Even non-magnetic iron takes a while to magnetize. Yeah, I don't think it would work terribly well. Yeah, exactly. With the magnet, force decreases drastically for each millimeter of space between the magnet and the target. So it would have to be crazy, ludicrously strong, I think. So at that point, you have to be close enough to the blade when it comes at you that you might as well just use a regular shield, you know? I don't think... thanks, Vibes? Cartel. Do you hold chat's position that linked weapons like nunchucks and flails are inferior to their solid counterparts, club and mace? Not as such. I simply look at them as different because they do things that the solid weapons don't, which they're better at, but they're worse at other things. You know, like they're worse at defense, for example, unless you have like a pole flail, then it's perfectly fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a war flail. You know, like a full pole with a flail at the end. It's perfectly usable. And in fact, when I tried it out, the one that I made, I was actually surprised by how well it works. So there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think you can call them categorically inferior. I think it's overgeneralizing. Been watching your videos for years, but apparently I wasn't subscribed. Well, that's been a YouTube glitch for a while, that people randomly become unsubscribed. I've seen that a number of times. People mention that when they say they know they subscribe, but then a while later they weren't anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. Or maybe you just didn't notice that you never subscribed. That could also be. I want to thank you for a video you made months back about ADHD. I'm being assessed for it, and it has opened up explanations as to why I had major focus issues in college and adult life. Yeah. This was one of those videos that I expected hardly anybody to watch. I knew that it wouldn't do well, but I just wanted to talk about it because it's an important topic. It affects a lot of people, and I figured it would, if even just a few people find it useful, that's going to be good. And it actually ended up getting, watched more than I expected. Anyway, thanks, Shkote D. Adoria did a new video a while back with, I think, rapiers. Yeah, I remember seeing that. They did 100 things at once in the fight, and I'd love a review. Yeah, I might do that at some point. Thank you. Nunchuck's real advantage is concealability. Yes, I agree. And, they're easier to carry. Like if you're not just, you're not just cutting the length of the weapon in half. It's in fact less because the chain just folds in. So it's less than half the length of an equivalent stick. So it's very easy to carry, of course. Plus you can do some things with it. Like you can kind of pull, like hook it around something and pull with it. I've seen some interesting ways in which they can be used. So yeah, they have some drawbacks compared to just a stick. Absolutely. But, it's not all bad. They have, some things they do worse, some things they do better. It needs a little bit more, what's the word? Nuance. Walking stick is more concealable. Yeah. That, yes. But it's more awkward to carry. I mean, if you actually use it as a walking stick, then that's fine. But even then, it's a little bit more cumbersome than just having those in your pocket, basically. ADHD is really misrepresented. Yep, it sure is. Like, pretty much everybody who has it hears the same bullshit over and over again. Like, oh, you're so smart, but you don't try hard enough, or you're so lazy, or you're whatever. Like, just focus. All this bullshit that is not helpful at all. Is in fact counterproductive. But there isn't enough understanding of it. And I mean understanding in the sense of knowledge. Not just empathy. That's lacking too, but just sheer knowledge is lacking. Loved your video on the weapons of Vermintide. As a fan of the IP, I'd love to hear your opinion on the weapons of the miniatures, especially the Stormcast Eternal ones. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Some big ass axes. I actually like this one here. That looks pretty cool. I like that. It's a neat design. This is... Particularly this looks too clunky to me. It's just oversized. Yeah, the hammer is way oversized. It's nuts. You would need to have superhuman strength to wield it, at least if it's solid. If it's hollow, it will probably be still kind of heavy, but more doable. That's something that really irks me. The size of warhammers in games, like fantasy warhammers, they're always humongously huge anvils, basically. It's basically an anvil on a stick. Which is nuts. Thanks, Polymath. In my fantasy story, swords and armor are used by soldiers with bolt-action rifles. If metal was strong and light enough, do you think soldiers would have still gone to war with swords and armor? I don't think so, because it was not just the fact that guns exist and they deal with armor. It was also a matter of costs, because at some point they kept up with firearms and in the armor design for quite a while. There was bulletproof armor, at least at a certain distance, for quite a while. But eventually they just changed strategy. Eventually it's just like, you know what? Since we have these guns now, let's just ditch all that crap. We're just gonna outfit our soldiers with just clothes and muskets and lead balls and powder, and that's it. Screw it. It's way cheaper. So you can field more soldiers. So that's a big factor in there too. Thanks, James. Is monotempered T10 steel too brittle? I don't think so, no. I've seen T10 used quite a bit for steels. For steels, haha. For swords. Do you actively seek out new music regularly? Not regularly, no. Every now and then. Have you seen the Australian gun nail hammer? Nope, I haven't, so I don't have any opinion on it. Ever messed around with hardening leather? Yes, I've tried that. If you do it well, it turns out quite nicely. Like, it's pretty resistant to cuts and thrusts. Mm-hmm. The what? The what hammer? The what from what? I'm just gonna have to search that directly. I barely even know how you pronounce that. No. That's all I'm gonna say. No. Taffy? Not really. I used to like saltwater taffy, but then one Halloween or October I had too much of it, and now I pretty much have that has ruined all of my interest in it. That was just too much, to the point of now I'm like, yeah, I'm good for the rest of my life. That, and the same as with what was it? Fudge. Saltwater taffy and fudge. I had too much of that for a while, and now I'm good for life. It looks so drastic when a message is retracted. Kind of. Message retracted. It's like, what? Huh? How controversial was that? Is that an electric typewriter? No, that's the frickin' fridge. Yeah, it's unreasonably noisy. Do you like licorice? Hell yeah. In fact, I've got some right here. Just so happens. I do like salty licorice. One of the few people who do. Thanks, David. Were you not moving? Is it still happening? Well, according to the original plan, we were already supposed to be in the new place for a couple of months, but there's been delays. You know, the place that we were supposed to move into is still a foundation. So, yeah, delayed everything. So, sometime next year. Yay. It's been frustrating. What kind of weapon did Zeus use? Mostly his dick. I mean, lightning bolts? I don't think he's described as using any other weapon other than casting lightning bolts. Construction is fucked up by supply chain issues. Yeah, I know. Also shortage of framers. $2021 is worse than 2020. I don't know. I don't think so. I think like it's not good, but it's not quite as catastrophically shitty as 2020, I would say. Thanks, Polymath. Video comparing bayonet fighting and half sorting. There's not that much overlap. I mean, I guess the hand position is similar-ish, but I wouldn't really consider it similar enough to compare. Maybe, but I don't really see too much overlap there. Thanks, Jerome. For fun in D&D, can a 10-foot pole be used as a weapon? We asked Gary Gygax this back in the day, and we got an answer from him. Huh? There's some kind of joke in there, or a meme that I don't get, I think. 10-foot pole. Is it a joke about not touching something with a 10-foot pole, or stripper pole, or is there some joke in there that I don't get? Probably. Anyway, thank you. Thanks, James. What do you say? A ballistic shield is too heavy. Bullet safe. Arak ballistic shield. I don't know how heavy they are, actually. Let me see if I can find it. How much do they actually weigh? I mean, considering how frickin' heavy real Roman shields were, I doubt it's going to be worse than that. Wait, let's see. What shit got here, mate? I think I saw. Wow, 11.2 pounds. I mean, this is a smaller one, or small-ish at least. That's not heavy at all. 11.2 pounds. That's actually totally fine for a shield. There's been worse in history. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say totally fine. Like it's not super light, but compared to a lot of shields in history, really not that bad. I mean, it's heavier than most historical shields of equivalent size, I would think, probably. Because it's not that large, but no, it's fine. Oh, right. Sorry, Void Null. I did miss your super chat. Wasn't skipping it intentionally. What would be a good way to use gears in a weapon aside from stacking them on a shaft to make a maze? Aside from that, I can't really think of too much. Maybe. Well, crossbow. It's kind of the cop-out answer. You can probably do a crossbow with some kind of ratcheting gear system, like, for cranking it. Other than that, for a melee weapon, gears in a reasonable way, like actually moving gears, I can't really think of anything. Maybe a creative engineer or steampunk smith could come up with something, but I can't think of any. Yeah, sure, a tsuba on a katana. Yeah, a discard, that's just a gear. That would also be the cop-out. But otherwise, like actually moving gears that work well, I don't know. 10-foot pole was an item in the game. The argument was, since it didn't have stats, could it be used as a weapon? Gary said it could. Okay. I was too suspicious there. Sometimes when I don't get, like, what's... when comments seem a little bit arbitrary. This wasn't too arbitrary, but sometimes, I'm always suspicious of trolling attempts. But anyway, it is an item, but, well, I mean, isn't there a quarterstaff in the game? Could just be a longer quarterstaff, right? So, I don't know. It's kind of weird that it is in the game and could be used as a weapon, but doesn't have stats. Anyway, thanks, Shane. Oh, wait, Mirochi first. Are you planning to do a Halloween special video? Yes, several, in fact. Basically, next week is going to be full of it. So, yeah. The next 2 weeks, basically. 3 there will be. Thanks, Shane. If going up against a master of the spear, would you rather have an arming sword with, say, a round shield, or would you rather have a long sword and use it with both hands? That's a good question. Shield is a good choice. It technically covers you better, but at the same time, I think I might want the longsword, not just because I'm better with a longsword, but also because it allows you better to hold on to something, because the ideal situation is if you manage to get past the spear point or deflect it and then grip it and hold on to the spear shaft, then you're good. So, and that would be easier if you don't have anything, like if you can let go of the sword grip. With some shields you can still grip, like strapped shields. So, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. How did you teach yourself to edit videos? Part learning by doing and part looking up tutorials, basically. Just there are like online courses and tutorials on specific programs, whichever you want to use. Whether it be like I'm stuck with Sony Vegas, DaVinci, what was it called? DaVinci Pro? DaVinci Resolve, never mind. That's another one, or Adobe Premiere, whatever you want to use. You can look up specific tutorials for that, and that'll give you a lot of basics and a lot of things that you wouldn't know to search for otherwise, you know? So that helps, and over time you get better. Do you ever do a video on reviewing weapons from Final Fantasy XIV? Maybe? I don't know. I haven't played 14, and I can't remember what the weapons look like in that one. But maybe. What else we get here? Okay, a few conversations there that I'm out of the loop on. Hundreds of weapons in FF14, some good, some less good. Yeah, of course. That's always going to be the case. Do spinning sword attacks work in sword combat? Most of them, no. But some ways of doing it in specific situations can work. But usually the way you see it in fantasy games and movies and such, generally a big no, the way it's done. Because usually they tend to just spin directly in front of the opponent in a super telegraphed way that'll just get them killed. But there are also better ways. Like if you're evading an attack, you know, by moving offline or to the side, then you can spin. And of course, also against multiple attackers, that also makes sense. Are you looking forward to any games? Yeah, Bloodlines 2 has been on my wish list for a long time. Probably like 2 years ago at this point. Like it just keeps saying soon, you know, and it's never happening apparently. Yeah, coming soon. It said that for a long ass time. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, yeah. One Lonely Outpost seems interesting. Is my kind of genre. Forsaken Castle seems like a, you know, a Castlevania style indie. That seems neat. Still gotta come out. But I'm otherwise probably mostly out of the loop. Haven't really been keeping up with announcements and releases. Does anyone know if Cold Steel even still makes their swords? I don't think they ever did, at least the blades. As far as I know, the blades have been outsourced for a long time. I mean, at least that's the last thing I know. I haven't really looked into exactly what they do. So I don't know what they do these days, but as far as I know, they used to just get the blades from India and then put hilts on them. But I don't know for sure what they do now. Thanks, Taco Guy 1988. Have you ever talked about the Klingon Bat'leth? Not yet, but soon. It's planned. It's a long shot, but here it goes. I have a channel interview people that deal with sword styles, history, and cultures. Are you available for a 20 to 30 minute Zoom call? I'm afraid not. Sorry. I'd like to, but I've just been so busy with keeping up with the schedule lately. And I mean, you can remind me in a couple of weeks. Like, I'm trying to figure out a better schedule that doesn't drive me into the ground quite as much. So maybe I'll eventually be able to free up more time than you can ask me. But I've been just kind of, yeah, preoccupied. Let's put it that way. I would generally like to do more collaborations and such. Eventually, I just need to figure out better ways to manage everything, time management and planning and all of that. Yeah, I know. I actually hate the redesign of the Bat'leth in Discovery. They made it a lot worse. I've heard them say that the idea was that they wanted to make it more defensive, because normally the Bat'leth is curved forward, has more of an aggressive kind of vibe to it. But the good thing about that is that stuff is facing away from you. So as you're swinging it, you're not likely to stab yourself. If the blades, you have two blades on both sides, one each on each side, and it's curved toward you, then now you can really injure yourself with that. Thanks, Jerome. Do you think a monofilament weapon will be made? No. Or something as sharp as obsidian but flexible as steel, would super sharpness matter much in combat? No. Simply because it would fail immediately. Like, if the material gets so thin that it's like literally down to a single molecule or whatever, the first time you strike anything with it, it's gone. It's immediately going to be destroyed. Like, you lose that crazy sharpness the first time you use it. So what's the point? You need something durable that can retain the sharpness pretty well. And if you go that thin, it's just going to fail instantly. There's just not enough material to support that. So no. You might want to search sharpness or blade geometry on my channel. I've talked about that in length in videos. Yeah, originally the Klingons are aggressive. I don't really know why they did this. Oh yeah, now they're just defending their culture and their whatever the hell is that. I mean, Discovery is, yeah. I tried. I started watching it, tried to get into it, but no, it's just, no. It's not for me. Like, it does not feel like Star Trek at all. And that's not a good thing in this case. I'd rather watch more Orville, because Orville actually feels like original Star Trek. Discovery, no, it's something else. I'm not sure if I would call it bad, but it's not Star Trek, whatever it is. Yeah, a lot of people say it's trash. Some people like it, but I don't know. Not me. Yeah, they're working on the next season of the Orville. Definitely looking forward to that. It's awesome. Also, more Doom Patrol and more Invincible is what I want. What's a historical weapon that you like that's not really talked about or was underused in history? The Igorot headhunting axe comes to mind. You know, that particular shape, it's almost like a hybrid between an axe and a war pick, and never really seen that elsewhere. Also, seeing Ace in the chat, disc maces. He can agree with that. And yeah, you really don't see disc maces at all, anywhere, pretty much. Have you seen blazing saddles? No. What is that? What North American woods do you like best for clubs? Hickory. Do like me some hickory. That's very effective. Strong and tough wood. Impact resistant and all that. That headhunting axe test, we blew up the test dummy skull, made it my favorite new weapon. Yeah, that was nuts. No, I haven't. What is blazing saddles? I have not heard of that. I said I'm out of the loop on a lot of things. Lately, it's just been like just grind, you know. It's a Mel Brooks movie. So it's not that recent, I'm guessing. Let's see, blazing saddles. Oh, 1974, okay. I don't even have the excuse that, you know, I haven't been keeping up because that's a long time ago. Maybe I have seen it, maybe just so long ago that I don't remember. Wait a moment, that does look familiar. That does look kind of familiar. I might have seen it after all. But a long time ago, as said. Can't wait to watch Invincible Season 2. Yep, same here. It's like Spaceballs for Westerns. Yeah, I actually rewatched Spaceballs, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Probably half a year by now, but yeah, recent-ish. Didn't suppose that I'd make it to watch the stream. Sorry, it's almost over. There's always somebody who catches just the tail end of it, and then they're like, "What? Why are you stopping now that I just showed up?" It happens. Are thicker shields okay if smaller in diameter? Yeah, depends on the exact specifications. Can be okay, but generally you don't want them to be overly thick either way. Is it ominous? It's almost over. Everything is almost over. Yeah. Almost. In fact, let me check the time. I should actually wrap it up right now. I still need to finish and do some finishing touches on the videos for next week. Yeah, there's always stuff to do. So, yeah. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. So, Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for the super chats and everything else. So hope you had fun. Have a good one, folks.